Welcome, everyone. This is Recovery Dharma. My name is Julia. I'm one of the facilitators of the Spokane Sangha. And to begin our practice, I'd like to drop a couple of seeds of intentionality for the focus of our practice today. For the month of May, we are going to explore as a community, as a Sangha, a collective of wise friends, the topic of boundaries, cultivating healthy boundaries. A synonym that I like to use for the word boundary is the word understanding. To have a healthy boundary is to commit to having and cultivating understanding. Understanding is one of the three powers in a Buddhist practice, according to Thich Nhat Hanh. The other two include the power of love and the power of healing. When we have access to understanding, we gain access to all of the ways that we are harsh and aggressive, all of the conditioning we have endured from our ancestors to the present day, and the contemporary pressures of living in the modern world are pretty harsh, violent, limiting. With understanding, we begin to awaken and gain access to something else, which is something softer, something more inquisitive and open, something limitless, and that is love and kindness and compassion. These qualities enable us to approach life with reverence and curiosity. And when we have that, we have the power to heal. And these three powers, friends, happen within the space of our lives that we create by having healthy boundaries, healthy understanding of ourselves, of our lives, the conditions surrounding our lives, the people, the places, the things that make up our experiences. I began this topic by introducing us to the four foundations of mindfulness as anchors to these boundaries, to these places of understanding. And I'd like to mention them again today by inviting you to drop into the body and just have a look-see. How's your body today? My body is recovering from a very bizarre virus that I got while I was in New York City. And so right now, my body and my focus is all up in my head because my ears are ringing, my ears are full. I can't tell if I'm talking really loud or really soft. My lungs are kind of tight, so my body's got some stuff it's dealing with. This affects my mood and my emotional landscape, which for the past couple of days has been really overwhelmed. And I feel tender. And I'm easily upset in that place of overwhelm, which means that I have cried a couple of times. And in that emotional landscape, the two other anchor points of mindfulness reflect thoughts and stories. And when I'm in a place of overwhelm, my thoughts and stories are governed by mind states of scarcity, It's too much, and I'm not enough to meet that too muchness. It's an extraordinary fiction I have been telling myself for years. It's highly limiting. It's incredibly distorting. Some of it is true. None of it is the truth. And so in all of that, I come into the spaciousness of my first person experience. And I breathe. And I relax. Surrounding me are these impeccable places of pause, little boundaries, little altars of understanding where I can come to them and say, hey, wait a minute, what's going on in my body? Maybe I need a cup of tea or a little rest. Hey, wait a minute. What's happening with my mood? Am I feeling agitated or bored? Am I feeling anxious or annoyed? As a human being, I want to give myself space and permission to have those feelings, to feel those feelings, but to be careful that I don't react on those feelings because I risk bleeding out of my space additional harm. There's plenty of that in the world. And I am here endeavoring to engage the power of love and healing. And so I take a moment to explore my thoughts and stories so that I make sure I don't act from a place of aggression, mindlessness, carelessness, unskillfulness. New York City smells like weed. Everywhere I went. And what that tells me is there are thousands and thousands of people on this island. I was on Manhattan, that are taking in intoxicants, and they are at risk for manifesting behaviors that are unskillful and add harm and aggression and aversion and negativity. And there's plenty of that. This is why in the Buddhist practice, we try to make a commitment to remove intoxicants because they limit our capacity to be skillful and careful, mindful, considerate, discerning. It is a practice. One of the highest aspirations in the Buddhist practice is the cultivation of equanimity, one of the four limitless qualities, and a virtue that enables us to spaciously be with the fact that I'm in New York City having an amazing time. I'm stimulated. There's a sea of humanity. It's beautiful. It's riveting. It's wonderful. And it's so gross because everywhere I go smells like weed, sprinkled with a little bit of sewer. Appetizing, isn't it? Wonderful, wonderful place to practice. Equanimity allows me to be with both of those things without any sense of urgency to fix, to change, to alter myself or my environment, to simply notice. Be with my body, be with my mood, thoughts, stories. So while I was there, I brought forward one of my favorite meditation practices, which is known simply as smiling meditation. Smiling meditation in New York City is a blast because there's so many people to smile to. And I was so delighted by how many people were receptive. I would say 90% of the people that I smiled with were receptive to this practice. The vast majority of people I encountered, however, didn't notice me at all. Their gaze was on their phones. So those who didn't have a phone with them and were able to make eye contact with me smiled for just a moment. Smiling meditation allowed me to smile to a beautiful woman from Africa who said to me, "I like that smile on you." That's my new phrase. I like that smile on you. My smiling meditation allowed me to smile at Glenn Close, who was sitting beside me at a restaurant. And I even got to smile at Voldemort, Ralph Fiennes, walking down the sidewalk in Greenwich Village. Those were a couple of really wonderful highlights. And then, of course, I got to smile at thousands of people at the American Psychiatry Association meeting, where the number one take-home message I received was that sleep, healthy rest, is as important as nutrition to sustained long-term recovery. So I'm now smiling at any amount of rest I can give my body and my mind, and I can offer to this community. Rest and sleep is an internationally studied phenomenon that has direct linkage to substance use disorder, its limits, and its success. What I'd like to offer for the duration of our practice, and really just for the next few moments, is smiling meditation with an inward gaze. Bring your attention to your smile. It's so beautiful. Thank you for smiling. Thank you for allowing an expression of joy to be embodied uniquely on you as you. Take a moment to pause and understand what are the conditions that enable you to smile and experience joy. Can you name one thing? If you're finding it difficult to smile, even if your eyes are closed, one of the things that you can do to access it is lift your eyebrows. So often our eyebrows are furrowed. We're very intense and focused. But when we lift our eyebrows, we open to possibility and curiosity and a little bit of goofiness, which invites a smile. What does the feeling of joy feel like? What are the thoughts that you entertain about joy, happiness, contentment? What are your stories? Friends, I want you to know that taking the time, prioritizing the time to be with ourselves, think about smiling, entertaining it as an option, considering healthy boundaries as places to pause and look deeply at these four anchor points, protecting our lives, protecting the conditions we're trying to cultivate so we can heal. This is a radical thing to do. The vast majority of people are not doing. And it's a big effort, which is why rest and sleep ought to be encouraged as a healthy boundary. You need your rest. And so may you cultivate the conditions for sleep that are conducive for deep healing rest. A good bed and pillow, soft sheets and blankets, water at your bedside, no screens, limited phone use, no movies. Time for the body to really relax and breathe. This kind of pause is a gift to the body and mind, to the heart and soul of recovery. When you go to bed tonight, may you smile at the gift of rest. May you smile at the way you are treating yourself. May you smile at your healing and capacity to recover. Alrighty, let's go ahead and end our practice today with a dedication of merit. And I'd like you to come back to the body and turn that gaze inward again. And our wonderful new friend Sean was referring to the parasympathetic response in the body that we all know. Flight, fright, flee, fawn, freeze. This is a very involuntary way that the body and the whole nervous system reacts and responds to experiences in life. Sometimes when we are bombarded over and over like sets of waves knocking us over, it's very difficult to regain our ground. It's very difficult to build resilience where just when you thought you were standing up, you get knocked down again. It's exhausting. And this is why the sympathetic system needs rest. And so what we know in these Buddhist practices, and what I highly recommend, is if you struggle to rest, if you struggle to sleep, just put on your phone or your computer for a couple of minutes a single sound. You can Google sound waves. 430 hertz. You can Google Om, O-M, and just listen to people chanting Om. It is incredibly regulating to the nervous system. And when we have a regulated nervous system, we can then discern, wow, I've prioritized an hour today to explore my recovery, to examine my relationship to habit energy, to bear witness to those just like me, struggling, to others just like me having successes, to wise friends who are aspiring to live a more wholesome life full of integrity and honesty, loving kindness, compassion, joy, freedom. We dedicate this practice to all those people and sentient beings who are experiencing suffering in any way. May they find ease and freedom. We dedicate this practice to anyone who has lost their smile. We smile to them. We dedicate this practice to anyone who is experiencing ill health, and may our good health find them, restore them to healing and endurance. We dedicate this practice to anyone who is lost in habit energy. May they find their own light, come home to their true self, and find belonging. We dedicate this practice to all sentient beings. May they know healing, peace, and be free. Thank you, friends. We'll see you next time. Namaste.